During the 1960s, the Latinos in the U.S. were heavily a part of the military during the Vietnam War. Mexican Americans drafted to fight in the war were dying at twice the rate of their white compatriots. This would soon spark an anti-war movement. The reaction from the Latino artists in Chicago inspired them to begin a mural movement, a collection of murals throughout Pilsen painted to express the outcries of the Latino community. Mastafastica by Mario Castillo in 1968 marked the beginning of the murals that soon followed. At first, his intention was for it to represent the anti-war movement, later then becoming the Chicano movement. But it then became a stamp of Mexican culture, with its bright colors resembling their true identity. The Chicano movement then evolved into a civil rights movement for Hispanics. Teresa Fraga, a migrant farm worker from Zacatecas, Mexico, migrated to Chicago in 1966 with her husband and children.
First of all, born in Mexico on the side of the road. My father was working on a construction job, my mother's pregnant, and I was born in a tent. We immigrated to the United States in 1947. We were migrant workers. At the same time, I felt very proud. I said, then it's true what my father said. I was born in a tent on the side of the road as the project was moving. And to me, that was very humbling, but it was very powerful. So it reinforced my being that there is power in humility, and that Dios tiene a la gente más débil en su mano. So it was just a wake up for me, thinking God has something, God has me on a path.
When she arrived, many other immigrants were also migrating. The immigration rates grew during the time of the Chicano movement. As the Latino community expanded, Teresa saw what Pilsen was shaping to become. Chicago has always been separated by the communities in each neighborhood. Pilsen was separated as the Mexican-American neighborhood with high crime rates and no education. In fear of Pilsen running down this path, she wanted the community to change from drugs, crime, and inadequate schools to a neighborhood filled with opportunity.
That's when I was starting to be involved in the community and with Pilsen neighbors and with the construction of Benito Juarez High School and other issues, the Chicago 21 plan.
The Pilsen Neighbors Community Council, founded in 1954, was created to confront their community's most pressing needs. Later, it was transformed by the new group of residents and switched from providing social services to more vocal, organized services. Their awareness was being used to raise rally residents on community action. The first Pilsen Neighbors Community Convention was on February 29, 1976, which was set to bring all the organizations and groups together at one place at the same time. The current president at the time, Mari Gonzalez, said, "If we, the people of Pilsen, don't make the tough decisions facing this community, some faceless bureaucrat or a group of them will make our decisions for us. The convention will be a place where we, the community of Pilsen, make these decisions together."
An organized community begins to create consciousness. People start thinking, oh, they're going to do that? Well, that's not right.
Teresa became more involved with her community during this time with local education and community organizing.
Well, the way I got involved in Froebel High School was I went to the office because my son was cutting the class after lunch. What got me upset was when the assistant principal said, but he's already 16 years old. And I said, but that doesn't mean that he's doing the right thing. And he said, why don't you do something about it? And I said, me? What can I do? I'm not the principal, I'm not the assistant principal. I'm doing my part. He said, if you could change it, would you? Would you do something about it if I showed you how? And I said, I would. And he said, get 10 parents that feel the way you do. And I did it. I got 10 parents.
After getting 10 parents on board with her concerns, she became the president of the Jungman Local School Council from 1975 to 1977. In 1977, Teresa Fraga ran for president and was elected for the PNCC at the age of 33, while leading the fight for a new high school alongside Mari Gonzalez and Raquel Guerrero. The school board fought back, trying to convince the people that there was no space, until they were told and became aware about the dropout rate.
Pilsen neighbors did a survey for dropout, and it was 85% dropout rate in Pilsen. People started talking to each other, and the fight for Juarez, started. The boycott, all 9 schools in Pilsen, all 9 public schools had a 3-day boycott. Many sit-ins in the superintendent's office. We never went with an appointment. That school was not built by chance. There was really a community that came together.
They won the fight for education. With the opening of Benito Juarez High School, a bright future was lit. It became the pride of Pilsen. After the victory of opening Benito Juarez High School, it gave the community inspiration to protest against the gentrification of Pilsen, Plan 21.
At that time, the community was going through a change. The Chicago 21 plan had been identified, which would have raised every building east of Ashland. The plan said that there would be housing along the river with yachts, and we said, well, that's not for us. We were excluded. The people living here, where are we going to go?
The plan proposed to make a series of construction projects for the Central Communities area, including areas of the loop that went far out to include Pilsen. Teresa and the PNCC did not feel that this plan should include the community. They saw that it did not provide the community's need for low-income housing, better bilingual and bicultural education, and more jobs, as well as parks. The PNCC called for a People's Plan of Action to protest against Plan 21's further development into the projects. They wanted the community to pressure banks to grant them low-interest loans and mortgages, to pressure the city to revise building codes to meet their housing needs, and to pressure the state to build low-income housing for the residents of Pilsen. Teresa and the PNCC fought to keep housing prices, property taxes, and utility costs manageable for lower-income residents of Pilsen.
By 1977, we have a document, a plan, an alternate plan for Pilsen, and that was with community input, and it included the residents that were here then, but it was a way to show that we had a voice and that we had time to stay here.
Even though the PNCC and Teresa Fraga's activism for their community's civil rights has brought drastic changes to Pilsen, not everybody believed that they were doing enough. Some have claimed that the PNCC have not done anything for the people, but Teresa has stated, "They're right. We do not do anything for the people. We work with people who themselves want to act and work together to tackle on a specific issue. We do all in our power to organize and assist them." The aftermath of both Benito Juarez High School and the activism against Plan 21 brought both population and enrollment growth. The population in Pilsen in 1970 was 37,208, 22,789 of those people being Latinos. By 1980, the population grew to be 44,951, and by 1985, 49,622, a 10.5% increase. She is still heavily a part of the community, making appearances at Benito Juarez. Their graduation rate is now 81%, and their dropout rate is now 2% compared to before. Overall, the neighborhood today thrives with bright colors. Murals pave their identity throughout the neighborhood. The PNCC continues to work on their projects such as the La Fiesta del Sol. They continue to fight for the civil rights of the Latino community. When the people united together to speak their voice and fought for equality, they grew stronger as a community, bringing change from the way that they were perceived by the rest of Chicago, as they are now known as the heart of Chicago. These events in history show if you speak your voice and unite people together, you are capable of making a difference, not just for yourself, but for others in the future. Over time, if you fight for what you're passionate about, if you continue voicing your dreams, and if you're persistent enough to wait for change to happen, it will.